can fathom all this weight, this endless human quest? We could slip be.
Bhadram karne vishrunuyama devaha Bhadram pasye makshabhirya chatraha Sthairairangai stuštuvagum sastanubihi Vyashema devahi tanyadayuhu Om Shanti 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 Om. O gods, may we hear with our ears what is auspicious. O ye adorable ones, may we see with our eyes what is auspicious. May we sing praises to ye and enjoy with strong limbs and body the life allotted to us by the gods. Om, peace, peace, peace. You are not bound. You only think you are. Use your will not to become free, but to see that you were never truly bound. You are not bound. You only think you are. Use your will not to become free, but to see that you were never really bound. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Our topic today is chill out. Where there is a way, if there is a will, there is a way. I know the word chill out, relax, sounds a little bit informal, but sometimes colloquial language can effectively convey, what we mean. Relax because there is hope. We can make choices. We can make decisions in our lives. We can choose how to respond to our daily pressure of living in a world that is constantly changing, that sometimes feels like too much. The other day, I gave a talk in Trabuco, Ramakrishna Monastery, about being overwhelmed and the things we need to understand to avoid experiencing stress in our lives. You can check out that lecture. It's on our YouTube channel, Ramakrishna Monastery, on our Spotify or SoundCloud. You can also check our website. But the thing is, it is related. That's why I bring it up. So today, I will focus more on the resources we have as human beings to deal with something that is inevitable. The stress, those emotions, toxic emotions that we also sometimes experience in our lives. So let's get started. First thing first, let's try to deal with our minds, to explain a little bit how this stress is experienced. So let's try to analyze a little bit how we are affected by the world due to living in it. how we are affected by relating to the world. The world is constantly throwing demands and challenges our way, creating needs and addictions. It's inevitable. No matter how much we can avoid it or we want to avoid it, we have to relate to it. And we are constantly demanded by our expectations from the outside and our needs. From family and work to society and politics, we are perpetually engaged. One has to relate to the world, for living is relating to the world. If one can see the difference between being alive and living, then it follows that one need not relate to the world in order to be alive. In sleep, for example, in a coma, in dreams, one connects with the objects depicted, unaware that they are merely projections of one's own self. I relate, and therefore there is living. I'm awake, therefore I relate to the world. You see me, I see you. When I relate, sometimes I either find harmony in it or not, meaning it can become a source of disharmony. And when one has to interact with the world day after day, what we call stress is expected. However, if one can find a harmonious balance with their surroundings, no emotional stress is experienced. Now, two things we have to consider: finding harmonious balance in order to reduce emotional stress. Kind of balance? Well, you can't spend the whole day playing video games no matter how much you love them. It will bring about a stress because people expect from you. How are you going to pay the bills? Go get a job, right? So there must be some balance so that there is no stress in our lives. Since our interactions with the world are inevitable, stress is a natural consequence. Therefore, to live a life with no stress, one has to learn that one has the capacity to live in harmony, to protect oneself from being an emotional victim to others' disturbing actions and behaviors. We have the capacity to protect ourselves. From who? To become emotional victims from others, people disturbing actions and behaviors. You see, we naturally put the blame on others. But what about us? We have the capacity to respond to these behaviors. Now, how do we do that? We can avoid emotional stress by using our free will. I know I'm one of those that believes in free will. Before entering into the topic of free will, let me first explain how these affect our minds. How stress affects our minds. There is an author, David G., in his book, Destressifying, he says, stress is how we respond when our needs are not met. Stress is how we respond when our needs are not met. Because when they are met, we are happy. Stress has a root in our needs. Stress has a root in our wants and creates all sorts of problems in our minds. Let's see how we can respond to our thoughts, frustrations. We must look upon our minds as a garden and cultivate all the healthy thoughts that bring about bliss. We call that ananda. We have to cultivate healthy thoughts that bring about ananda to us and also to others as well. Why not? When we are regularly tending the garden, we have to weed out what is bad. Isn't it true? We have to tend our garden by removing what is wrong, the wrong plants. So with your mind, with our minds, with our garden. There is a particular topic highlighted in the scriptures, in our scriptures, called Mana Shuddhihi, the cleanliness of the mind. And when it comes to this topic, I have to discuss what I think I did discuss in the past, what we call raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes. So briefly, I will remind you, these likes and dislikes that are inevitable in our lives. Raga means liking or attachment. We all like certain people. We all like certain situations. In simple words, raga means likes. Dvesha means dislikes. If I have to manage these two, I must understand the ways of these likes and dislikes. Do you see that within you? As a person, as a human being, you're just a collection of likes and dislikes. And the emotional consequences of these two. In the ancient scriptures, in the Vedas, we find a description of their nature and their characteristics. The first thing we have to note is that we can learn to manage. We can learn to navigate these likes and dislikes, but we can never avoid them. Is it clear? We cannot avoid them. It's part of life. It's part of being alive and living. It's part of us relating to the world. We can never get rid of these likes and dislikes. Even the gods got their preferences. Even the saints also moved with their preferences. We can see Sri Krishna likes whipped cream. And Shiva likes white flowers. Or you can satisfy him just simply with a leaf. Sri Ramakrishna, to quote some of our saints, also, if you study his life, you will find him running his life with lots of preferences. So we can't avoid that. All of us, Swamis also, we also have our likes and dislikes. But we are supposed to know how to navigate them with our preferences. Therefore, the first point is that likes and dislikes will always be there. The second point is that these two bring about advantages and disadvantages. When certain events happen in our lives, conforming our raga and dvesha, our likes and dislikes, then we experience happiness. If everything is according to what I expect, what I like, and what I don't like, then I'm happy. That's an advantage. Now, the disadvantage is the opposite. When events happen in our lives that are not, conducive to what we expect, then we experience the opposite, sorrow. So this leads us to what we call conforming or conducive situations that bring us happiness, and non-conducive or non-conforming situations that bring us sorrow. You okay? For example, sometimes, some people tell you, hey, you should go to the movie theater and watch that movie. It's awesome. Then you trust. You go to the movie theater with lots of expectations, and you watch the movie, and you see the movie, and you are like, oh my gosh, no, that's not what I expected. I'm disappointed. That's just a simple example how expectations, can make us experience emotional disruptions. We can even get upset. Non-conforming situations will bring about emotional disturbances. Now, the third point is that events, life will happen regardless my likes and dislikes. Like the world is not going to ask me, hey, Swami, are you okay if I do this, even though I know you don't like it? No. The world runs by itself. We run into people also who have their likes and dislikes, and that's our interaction, our relationships. And when they match, we have a match. When they don't, you better stay away. It's natural. Life is a mixture of conforming or conducive situations plus non-conforming situations. It's a mixture. Rain will happen regardless the marriage ceremony on that day. The unfolding events are going to not to consult us. Life involves continuous confrontation. There is no advance notice in life. There is unpredictability. Unpredictable or non-conforming situations also nowadays appear on our phones. Our phones are sources of likes and dislikes, especially those who do a lot of social media. Dealing with others is also a source of happiness and sorrow, for we will have to deal with each other's likes and dislikes. Most of the times in our lives, we are going to be dealing, unfortunately, with non-conforming situations. That's it. That's life. We have to accept it. We can't avoid them. So non-conforming situations are unavoidable, and that's the challenge of life. It's our daily living. Non-conforming situations will always bring about emotional disturbance in the form of disappointments, in the form of irritations, in the form of anger, in the form of hatred, in the form of regret, in the form of worry, in the form of what we call stress and tension. Our whole lives involves, as a result, continuous stress. I know, to become aware of this is a little stressful. So, since it is unavoidable, let's get over it. There is nothing we can do. It is what it is. This is life. We have no choice. Now, we come to the next important stage where we do have a choice. Emotional disturbances can lead us to emotional slavery. This is based on an important psychological principle that when any emotional disturbance stays in the mind, and especially disturbing emotions, even when it stays in the mind for a short while, the emotion in the mind can grow really fast. Any emotion outside cannot survive like a fish out of water, but if a disturbed emotion stays in the mind, it grows. It grows very fast, very strong, like hatred, fear, worry, anxiety, jealousy. Do you see it? When these emotions grow very strong, then you cannot eliminate them. They are already aspects of your personality. They are already aspects of your character. You are trapped. You are a slave. These emotions will stay in the mind, and then the mind will become a slave of these emotions. To be an emotional slave is a huge problem. We all have to deal with it in our lives. When emotional slavery takes hold, our minds becomes futile. It's no longer available to me because my emotions have taken over my mind, rendering it futile. To do any constructive work, I have to transition from non-conforming situations to the opposite, conforming situations. Situations where I can make decisions, where I have a choice. Toxic emotions prevent me from engaging in any constructive activity. Therefore, the primary issue with emotional slavery is that the mind becomes futile and the mind becomes harmful to myself. All the problems that are dormant in the body, they all sprout and grow when the mind is under stress. Stress leads to lowered immunity, and that's an invitation for all kinds of diseases. I know it's scary, so we have to do something about it. Therefore, we have to avoid emotional slavery, and it is possible by using our free will. We have no choice in the first three stages. We have no choice when it comes to our likes and dislikes. That's how we come to the world. We have no choice when it comes to non-consensual, non-conforming situations. We have no choice when it comes to emotional disturbances. They will always be there. Did you follow me? Likes and dislikes, non-conforming situations, emotional disturbances are the challenges of life. At this stage, there is nothing we can do. We can accept them. Free will won't be helpful because it only becomes active in the fourth stage, preventing the transformation of emotional disturbances into emotional slavery. Choice disappears only when one is dealing with facts, not with actions. Facts are born of knowledge. One has no choice over what is known as a fact of life. You know that very well. Students of Vedanta, Swami Dhyanayogananda used to say, life is a statement of facts as they are. So when it comes to that, there's nothing we can do. You can scratch your heads, but it is what it is. Whenever knowledge is involved, there is no choice. Knowledge of the fact. 2 + 2 is equals 4. The fact is not open to choice. One cannot choose 2 + 2 to be 3 or 5. But when it comes to action, behavior, there is choice. This is very important to understand. All free will is only in terms of effort, action, and behavior. Now, let's talk about the main topic. Let's talk about free will. The well-known proverb, where there is a will, there is a way, means that if someone has the desire and determination to do something, they will find a method to accomplish it, even when faced with significant obstacles. Is that right? That's what it means. This takes for granted that a strong willpower, dedication, and effort can turn seemingly impossible tasks into achievements. True? Yeah. However, we need to understand, even though free will is real, it's not absolute. It is powerful, but it's not independent. We did put in the necessary effort, but at the same time, we happen to be at the right place at the right time. We have to acknowledge this. We have to know this. It is not just good luck. There is grace that needs to be acknowledged. We've always been enjoying lots of blessings, lots of favors, and we have to acknowledge them. This is the part that we are missing. Effort, no doubt, is essential, but it operates within the field of interdependence that includes the grace of the Lord. By the Lord understood the intelligent order of the universe. The intelligent order of the universe, the grace of the Lord. The support of others, the support of your parents, your teachers, the support of the society, the laws of nature and karma, and of course one's own past actions. Free will is real, but its true purpose is not to fulfill desire, but to awaken wisdom, align with Dharma, and ultimately recognize one's inherent freedom as the self. Did you follow me? Free will is not just to fulfill desire, but to awaken wisdom, align with Dharma, and ultimately recognize one's own inherent freedom as the capital self. Where there is a will, there is a way. We must be cautious not to interpret this phrase as a guarantee of success solely based on personal determination. Success arises from effort aligned with Dharma, aligned with the right action, aligned with the right attitude, humility, and gratitude. Not ego-driven ambition. Moreover, the way may not be the one we imagine. Sometimes the way is acceptance, inner transformation, or service without expecting results. There is also a warning that is mistaking a strong desire for free will. Wanting something intensely does not mean one is free. It often means one is bound. Wanting something intensely does not mean one is free. It often means one is bound. True freedom is freedom from compulsion, not freedom to indulge. The real victory is conquering inner weaknesses, not merely attaining goals. Now, I wanted to bring this to your attention because there is a more balanced and a spiritually grounded understanding of free will, one that honors human agency while situating it within a vast, interdependent, cosmic order. We don't stop to think about these things. Human beings possess free will situated within a large cosmic order governed by karma and dharma. While past actions born of samskaras, samskaras, impressions of in the mind, and prarabdha karma, the karma that brought you to these bodies, shape our present circumstances, we retain the freedom to respond wisely. We retain the freedom to respond wisely to these circumstances because we are human beings. We are not animals. The human being is in a position to use his free will properly after judging a situation appropriately to make the right choices. Alternatively, we can make wrong choices and hurt ourselves. This free will, however, is not absolute autonomy. It is conditioned by one's levels of maturity, values, and understanding. True freedom lies not in doing whatever one desires, but in choosing what is dharmic, in choosing what is wise and conducive to our inner growth, even when it is difficult. Are you following? Human beings possess genuine freedom to choose, unlike animals, who act largely on instinct. Humans alone among sentient beings are self-conscious. We are aware of ourselves and our environment and free to choose our attitude and behavior. Clearly, who can deny that? Self-awareness and free will are our humanness. All other beings are tied to a pattern set by their instincts. We too have instincts, but we are not bound by their pattern. We can discern. We have a natural, intuitive understanding of what is right and what is not. In fact, blessed with free will, humans cannot rely upon instinct as a guide for their behavior, but must thoughtfully choose his actions in accordance with ethical standards. If we allow our actions just to happen, triggered by instinct-born impulses or some conditioned mechanical pattern, we are not acting. We are merely reacting. And we react sometimes if we don't stop to think. Once we act, we have no power to choose the reaction. This capacity for discernment is called viveka in Sanskrit, and deliberate action is what makes spiritual growth, possible. You see how important this is? If we fail to choose our actions consciously and deliberately, we have not exercised that special faculty that makes us humans, namely choice of actions based on rational thought. So what, you may say? Why does it matter whether I exercise this special faculty or not? If there is a reason why I should consciously choose my action, is there any reason, you may ask, why I should consciously choose my actions? What is wrong with letting impulse or conditioning guide me? My impulses are normal. Sometimes people say, well, I'm just passionate, period. We justify ourselves. I'm just the way I am. You have to accept me. Right. But that's not human. We have to stop and understand that it's not conducive to our spiritual growth. Even though that might be true, but still, over any period of time, a life based on impulsive or mechanical behavior will run into problems. When my actions are really reactions, my mind will be troubled. We know that very well. Experience will not teach me. Conflicts between thought and deed will bother me. Painful emotions will build up. Mood will be my master. A moody person. When I consciously, rationally choose my actions, I am in a position to benefit from what has happened before. Experience is my teacher. Even from wrong actions, I become wiser. When I let my actions happen, I am not consciously there to learn from the past. You always have the free will, along with karma, action, how we respond. Be clear. This is a tremendous responsibility because we have to interact with each other. We all have our likes and dislikes. We all have our personalities. You just can't override each other's personality just because you fancy. This is a huge responsibility we have to take. The human being is in a position to use his free will properly after judging a situation appropriately to make the right choices. While we cannot change our initial circumstances, we can choose how we respond to them. Meaning life happens before us, but we can choose how to respond. We can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we relate to each other. Does it make sense? This is the essence, effort within acceptance. Free will is not about bending reality to our wishes, but about cultivating inner clarity. The ethical function of free will is to overcome inner enemies. The ethical function of free will, this is important, is to overcome inner enemies. The primary battlefield of free will is within. The greatest threats to freedom are not external constraints, but internal compulsions. You know that, right? Like what, Swami? Kama, desire, krodha, anger, greed, lobha, attachment, moha, pride, mada, envy, matsarya. These inner enemies hijack the will and turn it into a servant of impulse. We become animals, and we can become sometimes worse than animals. True free will, therefore, is self-mastery. It is the ability to pause before reacting, to choose the dharmic over the pleasurable, to act with compassion rather than self-centeredness, ego, pursue long-term well-being over short-term gratification. Now, after all this, how do we use this to overcome our emotional disturbances and to prevent these emotional disturbances to turn us into slaves? We have to practice what I said before, the unique capacity of a human being that we have is called discernment, viveka. This is the practice. We have the choice to apply these practices in our lives. The deliberate action is what makes spiritual growth possible. This discernment is to remember the fact of life, that emotional slavery makes me useless, futile, harmful to myself. Is it understood? Once we fall into that, it's really difficult. We cannot blame this on others as we usually do. So therefore, we have to use this capacity to understand, to discern that from emotional disturbance, watch out. That's going to happen, regardless of your choices. But your choice is present if you want to be a slave or a free person. The second thing we have to practice is called, in Sanskrit, sankalpa. It's a strong auto-suggestion that I will always be alert throughout the day, because at any time this can happen. That emotional disturbances are going to happen no matter what. Therefore, my duty is to ensure that emotional disturbances does not get converted. They don't turn into emotional slavery. As I said before, we can't do anything when it comes to these disturbances, but we have the power to navigate the consequences and prevent to become slaves of our own emotions. Therefore, the auto-suggestion to stay alert. It's like a vow you take. I'm going to stay alert, even while dreaming. The third thing that we have to practice, we usually find this in yoga, pratipaksha bhavana. It is a technique of overcoming negative thoughts by consciously cultivating their opposite positive emotions, replacing anger with compassion. Dharmic thoughts, positive thoughts. One of the things that I usually like to point out is that we are all slaves of our likes and dislikes. When it comes to that, we don't have a choice. We all have to deal with it. And all we want, you and I, is to feel complete, is to find fulfillment in our lives. So in our desperation and ignorance, we don't pay attention to this. We hurt others. We are hurt. So we do the best we can. So instead of criticizing others, pointing to that shortcoming, we should try to be more benevolent, try to understand we are all experiencing the same. We all want to feel complete. We all want to experience happiness. You're not going to justify them. They will have to pay for their actions, no matter what. But we can throw or give some grace. Love. All we want is love. Emotional slavery comes when you allow the anger thoughts to continue, worry thoughts to continue, fear thoughts to continue. Replacing them with good ones is our free will. You can use humor. Humor is the best remedy, as the Reader Digest says. You remember that page? Humor is the best remedy. It is true. Suddenly, if you start laughing, it's magic. You just forget. Try that. The fourth practice is what we call satsanga, the support of positive thoughts that people entertain, people who are in the same path. This is satsanga. You can also find that in good character people, in studying the lives of saints, in finding inspiration in how they behaved, how they acted, instead of reacting. We have the life of Jesus, Sri Ramakrishna Buddha. We have to study. Remembering what we call Satpurushas will bring positive thoughts to our own minds. Did you experience that? Reading the life of saints is very helpful. At last, the last practice is what we call prayer or supplication. We have to acknowledge all the grace that comes to our lives, that is in our lives. We have to be grateful. I know it's very common today, the practice of being grateful, but there is deep meaning here. There is a reason. Pray to the Lord, oh Lord, I must have the strength to avoid emotional slavery. Give me the strength and the free will to avoid emotional slavery. Give me wisdom. If we follow this, we can achieve prosperity, both human prosperity and spiritual prosperity. It is inevitable. As human beings, living in this world, interaction, it's inevitable. We have to relate to the world. as living beings. We can't just run away from it. If we do, we'll be in our minds. Everyone's life and behavior is governed by these likes and dislikes. Life is a mixture of conforming, conducive situations and non-conforming situations. And the thing is, you will run into the second more often than the others. It will be more common to find in your daily life to run into these non-conforming situations. So relax, chill out. Where there is a will, there is a way. You have the power. We have the power to avoid them. Non-conforming situations will always bring about emotional disturbance, another thing that we have to accept. This is life. We, when it comes to this, have no choice. Do you agree? It is what it is. Self-awareness and free will are our humanness. We are human. We are special. Yes, when it comes to that, you can say we are special, no doubt about it. But we have a huge responsibility. This is the power human beings were given to achieve self-mastery. This is our way out, you guys. These are the tools we have, the resources we have to help ourselves. We can choose how we respond and how we act. The human being is in a position to use his free will properly after judging a situation appropriately to make the right choices. We have always been enjoying lots of blessings, lots of favors, and we have to acknowledge them also. Effort is no doubt essential, but it operates in the field of the grace of God, the support from the people who love you, the laws of nature, and our karma, past actions. This is true for all of us. Our free will is realistic, ethical, and liberating. Acknowledgement of our limitations without resignation. Without resignation. You don't just give up. Exercise our choices with wisdom and care, love. Act with effort, with full effort, yet without arrogance. And ultimately, we have to use our will to discover, I'm going to go very Vedantic now, that we are already free. That's the goal. Paradoxically, we are already free. True freedom is not in getting what we want, but in wanting what is true. True freedom is in wanting what is true. Truth is liberating. The true purpose of our free will is to awaken wisdom, align to Dharma, and ultimately recognize one's inherent freedom as the self, capital self, what we call the Atman in Sanskrit. In this light, free will is not a tool for control, but a means of participation in a divine order. We are participants. We are contributors to a divine order. Whatever you want for yourself, you have to give it to others. Free will leads to recognition of the ever-free self. Paradoxically, the journey of free will culminates in the realization that the self was never bound and therefore never needed free will to become free. The Atman is what we call Swatantra, absolutely independent and ever free. The highest use of free will is to turn inward and to inquire, who am I? Who am I? In the I, there is no liker. But in the liker, there is the presence of the I. In the I, there is no disliker. But in the disliker, there is the presence of the I. The freest person is not the one who bends the world to their will, but the one who sees the world and themselves as they truly are. You are not bound. You only think you are. Use your will, not to become free, but to see that you were never truly bound. Thank you.
Who can fathom all this weight, this endless human quest? We could slip beyond the pain by letting our minds rest. If we pause to see the world as dreams that fade away, yet day and night we're lost in Maya's ever-changing play. Each soul must bear a burden, each heart must face its night. If misery surrounds you, rise up to find the light. Be strong, for strength is infinite. It lives in you untold. The weight is ours to carry, and through it we will become bold. When all responsibility rests firmly in our hands, we rise into our highest selves and learn to truly stand. Our life is but a moment, whether blessed or filled with pain. It might be fun or joy. its life whole. In God and in religion lies the healing of the soul. When in the midst of God's creation hold Him really tight, the world will then feel full of fun. Your burden will feel so light. O thou who bears the universe, its sorrow and its strife, please help me bear the little load that's mine within this life. May sattva dominate my nature, allow me to be so calm and peaceful, even faced with harsh adversity. When you're feeling overwhelmed and roll and spiral high, here's a thought of wisdom that you really ought to try. Maya's dance is ever-changing, fleeting in its quest. Your true self is changeless, peaceful, eternally, ever at rest.
Our thanks to Swami Dhyanayogananda, our dear brother who stays at our Ramakrishna Monastery in Trabuco Canyon, Orange County. If you've never visited that monastery, please do. It's beautiful. And thanks to Swami Atmavidyananda for his closing piece, very appropriate to the theme and carefully composed. Next week is Easter Sunday. Our speaker will be Swami Sarvadevananda. His topic, Resurrection Within. Will be a Vedantic take on Easter. And Saturday night, this coming Saturday, will be Ram Nam here in the temple after our evening prayer, where we sing the names of Rama together. So it's a joyous occasion, followed by a sumptuous prasad meal. We also have classes Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Friday evenings at 7:30 p.m. And we do this every Sunday. If this is your first time, most welcome. There's refreshments, there's the bookshop, and Swami Dhyanayogananda will go to the living room next to the bookshop to take your questions, your objections, your comments, and discuss the topic in more detail. So please join him if you have the time. Please join him in the greenhouse living room after the talk.